But first, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office inviting former President Trump to testify before a grand jury. This in connection with the Stormy Daniels hush money payments. The New York Times reporting that Trump could soon face criminal charges from Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. National correspondent Mike Carter has the very latest.
Former President Donald Trump says he, quote, never had an affair and calls any accusations to the contrary, quote, a political witch hunt.
Our country has become the investigation capital of the world. Actually, that's all we do.
Trump's stance comes as the Manhattan DA's office is intimating that criminal charges could soon be filed against him for hush money payments paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels.
This racist DA is being pushed by radical left Democrats, the fake news media, and the Department of Injustice.
According to the New York Times, Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg has notified Trump's attorneys that the former commander-in-chief and 2024 presidential candidate will be given the opportunity to defend himself next week in New York in front of a grand jury.
And this case has been looked by every prosecutor. They're all looking. They looked at it for years now.
The New York grand jury investigation centers on a $130,000 hush payment that Trump's personal attorney and longtime fixer Michael Cohen made to Stormy Daniels just days before the 2016 election. The payment was part of a non-disclosure agreement over an affair Daniels says she had with Trump. For his part, however, Donald Trump has repeatedly denied the affair ever took place, even saying so this past weekend at CPAC.
No affair. I call it no affair.
If Trump is indicted, it would be the first time a former American president is charged with a crime. But it may not be the only legal challenge he faces. Previously, a Georgia grand jury recommended several indictments, according to the foreperson, as prosecutors consider charges in the possible interference in the 2020 election. The Justice Department also has ongoing federal investigations into classified documents found at Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago. Donald Trump refers to all three investigations as being politically motivated. In New York for Newsmax, I'm Mike Carter.
And thank you so much, Mike. And everybody, let's bring in now former New York City mayor and also former attorney for President Trump. There he is, my friend, Rudy Giuliani. You know, Rudy, I have to get your reaction. My first thing I thought about is Alvin Bragg. And you know, of course, who he is, the Manhattan DA. He seems to go soft on criminals. I mean, there have been so many on this revolving door in New York. It's happening with many DAs that are soft on crime, Soros-backed across this country. And yet, even a number of liberal attorneys that I've spoken to since this news broke have felt this case is a stretch. He seems to go soft on hardened criminals, and yet he seems to be stretching it here on President Trump. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, they're being nice in the way they're saying that. Alvin Bragg indicated the day he became district attorney that he's basically a criminal. He said he wouldn't follow his oath of office. He announced a whole group of crimes, virtually half the penal code, that he wouldn't prosecute, including armed robbery if the guy doesn't use his gun. He backed off that. Now, if you bring a gun in, you may get prosecuted. He has not prosecuted more cases than any district attorney that I can remember. And I've been in law enforcement here for over 50 years. I work closely with the people who did his job. They were giants. Like Morgenthau, like Hogan.
So what do you make, Rudy, of the fact now that he clearly has Trump in his eyesight and Trump may get charged very soon? What do you make of that?
Unbelievably political, the most political of all. And it shows that the Democrat Party has become the state police because they're doing this all over the country. It's not just here. He's the worst because he doesn't prosecute anybody else. He's going to prosecute Donald Trump on a specious charge that's been dropped already, for which Donald Trump has actually won money damages in his favor. I know the case backwards, and he is going to use a liar that will take 5 days for Cohen to get off the stand when they finish with his cross-examination. I mean, he straight out lied about things that are on tape. I never asked for a job in the White House. Tape with Chris Cuomo. I wanted to be chief of staff. 2 days later. The man is a pathological liar, and the case is a ridiculous case.
So why do you think the DA is doing this then? Why is he, even though you say there's obviously some holes in it?
At best, this is a personal case, a sexual case. What about Bill Clinton? She was a young girl. He was the president of the United States. It was in the White House. It was in the Oval Office, and they didn't prosecute it. And they're going to prosecute Donald Trump? What about Hunter Biden walking around having committed 50 crimes, and the president of the United States with his son convicting him, saying, I gave 50% of my money to him. Remember that. 50% of the money went to Donald Trump, according to Hunter Biden. What about that? Those are crimes. Then you can get to some woman saying who does whatever she does for a living, saying whatever she said, and the man saying what he said, and already adjudicated in his favor 3 times. Ridiculous. He should be thrown out of office. Should have been thrown out on day 1, but we don't have a governor. Instead, we have a state that people are leaving in record numbers and a police department that people are leaving in record numbers because this city is going back to the way it was before a Republican fixed it.
Let me ask you, Rudy, do you believe that an indictment is coming just based on the fact that they did ask him to testify, Donald Trump, before the grand jury? And second of all, also, would you advise, just, in general, if you were talking to President Trump about this, would you tell him to testify because he did get that invitation, or would you say, heck no?
Personal view. I'm not his attorney right now. Okay. Personal view. I wouldn't go near that grand jury. Not the people. They're good people, but I know grand juries. I ran many more grand juries than this bozo did. And people who are real criminals, Bragg. I prosecuted the mafia, terrorists, murderers, brought crime down more than any mayor in the history of the city, and prosecuted more big cases than any U.S. attorney ever. I think I know what I'm talking about. You're a disgrace, Bragg, and your political party has become a fascist political party.
Do you believe though he will go forward with charges, Rudy, regardless of what you're thinking, just because he seems focused? And how will that affect President Trump?
I think we have to assume he will. I don't know his mind. It's a really dumb thing to do. There have to be people telling him, this is crazy what you're doing. You don't prosecute people who try to murder people. You let cop killers out of jail. And you're going to prosecute this guy on a personal case that other people have done far worse allegation. And by the way, they even sound like they're not true when you look at them, which is why he won before. So I would say we have to assume he's going to prosecute, and we have to assume it's going to make President Trump even more popular because the American people realize they're being prosecuted. The American people realize that to these upper crust, crooked, fascist, elite Democrats, we're all the people of New Palestine. That's who we are. We're the people you don't even talk about, you don't go see. And when you go see them, like little Buttigieg did, you walk around like this.
Well, we'll see where this goes. It is really stunning, Rudy. These developments, as you talk about, they stem from 2016, too. So it's a big question as the timing of all of this. And we'll see what happens with the DA's office. Obviously, everybody's watching. This, again, as we pointed out, would be the first former American president to be charged. So that is a huge deal. And you better have your ducks in a row if you're going to go after somebody who's the former president and potentially the future. He's a candidate, as we know. Rudy, thank you very much. We love having you here.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.